Hello guys, how are you doing? So by now we have learned about various types of graphs that help us analyze the motion of any object moving in a straight line. So in today's video, we'll solve some problems based on the same concept. So without wasting a second, let's jump right into the problems. So the first problem is based on the speed time graph that you can see over here. This speed time graph is of a bus that is moving along a straight line. Now based on this graph, you are supposed to answer the questions that follow it. The first question asks you to find out the time duration or the time period during which the bus is accelerating. The second question asks you to find out the time period during which the bus is decelerating. The third question asks you to find out the distance covered by the bus when it's accelerating, as well as the total distance covered by the bus throughout the course of its journey. And the fourth question asks you to find out the average speed of the bus throughout the course of its journey. Now I'm sure all four of these questions are pretty easy, so you take some time and try getting them all correctly. Okay guys, time to see the answer now. So the time period for which the bus was accelerating is between 0 to 10 minutes. The time period for which the bus was decelerating is between 10 to 20 minutes. The distance covered by the bus during its acceleration phase is 10 by 3 kilometers, and the total distance covered by the bus throughout the course of its journey is 20 by 3 kilometers. And finally, the average speed of the bus is nothing but 20 kilometers per hour. Let's go ahead and see the solution. So guys, it's very easy to find the answers for part A and B as long as you observe the graph carefully. So you can see here that between 0 to 10 minutes, the graph appears to climb upwards, which means that as the time was increasing, the speed of the bus was increasing as well. However, after the 10-minute mark, you can see that the graph falls down, which means as the time was increasing, the speed of the bus was decreasing. So this means that our bus was accelerating for the first 10 minutes or during the time interval 0 to 10 minutes, because as the time was increasing, the speed was also increasing. However, between 10 to 20 minutes, the bus was decelerating because with time, the speed was decreasing. Let's go ahead and see the solutions for part C and D now. Now, part C asks us to calculate the distance covered by the bus during the acceleration phase as well as throughout the course of its journey. Now, you already know that you can calculate distance from the speed time graph by looking at the area under the curve. Now, from 0 to 10 minutes, the bus was accelerating. So, the area of the half triangle that I've highlighted over here gives us the value of distance during the acceleration phase. Now, this area is nothing but half base into height, which comes out to be 1 by 2 multiplied by 10 minutes multiplied by 40 kilometers per hour. Base here is 10 minutes and height here is 40 kilometers per hour. But as you can already see, we have a units issue going on here. We have time in minutes while speed in kilometers per hour. So we'll rather change the value of time from minutes to hours, which will give us 1 by 2 into 10 by 60 multiplied by 40. Now the value of this expression comes out to be 10 by 3 kilometers. So we can say that the distance covered by the bus during the acceleration phase comes out to be 10 by 3 kilometers. Now to calculate the total distance covered by the bus, we have to find the area enclosed under the entire triangle, because as you can see, the bus begins moving at 0-minute mark and stops moving at 20-minute mark. So what do you think is the area of the entire triangle? Well, it's nothing but half base into height again, where the value of base is 20 minutes and the value of height is 40 kilometers per hour. Now once again you can see that we have a units issue here where we are trying to multiply minutes with kilometers per hour. So we'll change the value of time from minutes into hours. So our expression becomes 1 by 2 multiplied by 20 divided by 60 into 40. Now the value of this expression comes out to be 20 by 3 kilometers. So the total distance covered by the bus throughout the course of its journey is 20 by 3 kilometers. Finally, part D asks us to calculate the average speed of the bus throughout the course of its journey. Now all of you know that average speed is nothing but total distance covered divided by total time taken. Now from the graph you can directly see that total time taken is nothing but 20 minutes, and the value of total distance covered you just calculated in part C, which was 20 by 3 kilometers. So the value of average speed comes out to be 20 by 3 kilometers divided by 20 minutes. Now once again we change minutes into hours and our expression becomes 20 by 3 kilometers divided by 20 by 60 hours. Now this upon solving gives us the value of average speed as 20 kilometers per hour. And that's our answer for part D, guys. Great, let's move on to the second problem now. So this problem says that two friends, Jack and Jill, started moving at the same location and covered an equal distance of 30 kilometers. Now their individual motions is described in the distance time graph that you can see over here. Now based on this graph, you are supposed to answer the questions that follow. So take some time and try getting all of them correctly. Okay, answers time, guys. So the answer for part A is that Jack started moving at 10 am while Jill started moving at 11 am. The answer for part B is that Jack was already 15 kilometers ahead of Jill when Jill started to move. The answer for part C is that both Jack and Jill moved at uniform speeds. The speed of Jack was 15 kilometers per hour while the speed of Jill was 60 kilometers per hour. The answer for part C is that Jill overtook Jack exactly at 11:20 am when both of them had covered a distance of 20 kilometers. And finally, the answer for part D is that Jill had to wait for 30 minutes before Jack arrived at the destination. Let's go ahead and see all the solutions now. The answer to part A can be easily found directly from the graph. You can see that Jack's plot begins exactly at the origin, where the time is 10 am. So we can say that Jack started to move at 10 am. On the other hand, Jill's plot begins at 11 am mark. So we can say that Jill started to move at 11 am. Now part B asks you to find out how far ahead was Jack when Jill started to move. From the graph you can tell that Jill started to move at 11 am. So the question is essentially asking you to find out the distance covered by Jack by the time it was 11 am. From the graph you can easily see that distance was 15 kilometers. So from here we can say that Jack had already covered a distance of 15 kilometers when Jill started to move. Part C was to identify whether Jack and Jill moved at a uniform speed or not. And if they did, you were supposed to calculate the exact value of their speeds. Now you already know that in a distance time graph, a straight line plot tells us that the object moves at a uniform speed. Both Jack and Jill have perfectly straight line plots. So this means that both of them moved at uniform speeds. Now to calculate the exact value of their speeds, we need to use the formula speed is equal to distance divided by time over here. Now distance covered by both Jack and Jill is equal to 30 kilometers, but there's a difference between the time they take to cover that distance. Jack takes 2 hours to cover that distance. You can see that from the graph, while Jill takes only 30 minutes or 1/2 hours to cover that distance. So from here, we get the speed of Jack as 15 kilometers per hour, while the speed of Jill as 60 kilometers per hour. In part D, we were supposed to find out when and where did Jill overtake Jack. Well, from the distance time graph, I can directly say that the intersection point of the two plots is where Jill overtook Jack, which happened at 11:20 am when both of them had covered a distance equal to 20 kilometers. But how am I saying that? Well, to verify this, let's draw a vertical line right before the intersection point, let's say at 11:10 am. Now at this time you can see that Jill has covered a lesser distance as compared to Jack, which means Jill is behind Jack. On the other hand, if I draw a vertical line after the intersection point, let's say at 10:30 am, you can see that here Jill has covered a larger distance as compared to Jack, which means Jill is ahead of Jack. So this means that before the intersection happened, Jill was catching up to Jack. At exactly the intersection point, which is at 11:20 am, both Jack and Jill had covered the same distance of 20 kilometers and were together. And the next moment after that, Jill had overtaken Jack. So we can say that at 11:20 am, when both of them had covered a distance of 20 kilometers, Jill overtook Jack. And the last question was how long did Jill wait before Jack arrived at the destination? From the distance time graph, you can directly see that Jill arrived at the destination at 11:30 am, but Jack arrived at 12 noon. So this means that Jill had to wait for 30 minutes before Jack arrived at the destination. And that is the answer for our final part, guys. We are doing great, guys. Let's solve one last problem before we end this video. And I promise you, this is going to be an easy one. So over here, you can see the velocity time graph of a particle moving along a straight line. Now, based on this, you are supposed to calculate the magnitude of displacement of the particle throughout the course of its journey. Your time starts now. Okay guys, time's up. The right answer to this question is 300 meters, which means this particle covers a displacement of 300 meters throughout the course of its journey. Let's go ahead and see the solution now. So, how do we solve this problem? Well, you see, it's very easy. We already know that area enclosed within the velocity time graph essentially gives us the value of displacement. Over here, we have a trapezium shaped curve, which means we need to find the area of this trapezium over here. And the formula for that is 1 by 2 multiplied by the sum of its parallel sides multiplied by the distance between them. Now, in the context of our problem here, we can rewrite this expression as 1 by 2 multiplied by OC plus DE into AE, where OC plus DE is the sum of the two parallel sides and AE is the vertical distance between them. Now, the value of DE is 20 seconds, the value of OC is 40 seconds, and the value of AE is 10 meters per second. Our expression finally becomes 1 by 2 into 60 seconds into 10 meters per second, which upon solving gives us the answer as 300 meters. So the displacement of our particle, which is nothing but the area enclosed by this trapezium over here, comes out to be 300 meters. And that's our answer for this problem, guys. And with that, let's end our video today. I hope you had a good time solving these problems with me. In the next video, we'll take up the concept of circular motion, and I'm sure you'll all enjoy it a lot. For now, let me say goodbye and I'll see you again in the next video.